T. Scott, what is your take on this NIL Go, just from surface, and then we'll dig into it.
Well, I mean, on its broad surface, it's intended to provide some protection for the university and for the staff and folks when participating in these NIL activities. Whether or not it does or not is going to be, something to be kind of examined as we progress along. Obviously, arranging for meetings for the athletes, reviewing contracts, and offering guidance has to provide some protection. I mean, we got to remember, some of these kids are coming out of school, 18 years old. I mean, that being said, I don't make the best of decisions at 58. God forbid. I don't know what I'd have done at 18 if I had that kind of money at my disposal. But that being said, I think the whole thing is for protection for the athletes and also for the school, review the contracts. And then also we're going to see the expectations, I think, heightened. It's no longer going to be, hey, we're going to sign an NIL deal and you kind of show up if you want to show up. The athlete's going to actually have to adhere to the contract. If you pay a man or a woman to perform certain obligations under the contract, appear at public appearances, things of that nature, you're going to be somewhat distressed if you are spending that kind of money and, they blow it off. So it's going to be a indoctrination into what I consider to be big boy, big girl world.
T. Scott Jones, I want to ask you on another level of the NIL Go. I think what gives me concerned about it is I've learned, I didn't study law, but I have learned the phrase tough cases make bad law. Right. And NIL Go, it seems like, okay, you're going to have a third party make an arbitrary decision on whether every single NIL deal is truly a pay for play or an honest advertising business arrangement. That's a lot of discretion, isn't it? For some people,
that's a whole lot of discretion. And obviously, as you can well imagine, anytime there's that kind of discretion, it is sort of want for abuse. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. But then how do we do it? Otherwise, in that, the schools are effectively going to be self-policing to a certain extent. And we've seen sort of NCAA involvement. That didn't work out real well for them. So it is going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of the wild, wild west. And collectively, they're going to have to end up, I think what you're going to see is almost collective type bargaining agreements like you've seen in Major League Baseball and in football, caps, things of that nature. Because otherwise, we've talked about it on a couple of the other segments we had. Who's going to be our first $10 million athlete? And it's coming. I think we crest it in the next 2 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if we crested and we don't know about it.
Right.
I know the Manning family is not out. They're not out for money. They want to be successful in football, but that name carries a lot of weight, and Texas has a lot of money.
Absolutely. The reality of it is, if an athlete has a finite window in which they're able to perform at a certain level, why shouldn't they get compensated or rewarded for it? So that was the argument when we dealt with the NCAA lawsuit brought by Scometti and Tennessee. So it is interesting how it's going to be, but the legal protections I think are primarily there for the schools and the staff when dealing with this, so that you don't have a bunch of just superfluous litigation, because otherwise it's just going to be a big mire of continuing litigation.
So, T. Scott Jones, how soon are we to, from what I talked about, a lawsuit of a player enters an NIL deal with the school, and it's a pretty lucrative deal. This NIL Go comes in and says, nope, that's not an advertising deal. That's pay for play. So we're going to strike this down. And then that player's like, well, I'm suing the hell out of this NIL Go then. Who are you to say that I can't enter this deal? Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to have to be so, I guess, patently obvious on its face. Ones that are, I consider gray area ones, I think they're going to have to let those sail on by. But, on the ones that are just so clearly pay for play, and really what defines pay for play? How much is your name, image, and likeness worth? That being said, we all know there's different values on things. And if you're the GOAT, perhaps you demand a higher price. It is a brave new world.
It is. And I'm also curious if this stuff becomes public as it has before. I mean, we knew about Nico. I don't think that caused any issues among his teammates, but it certainly could if one guy's getting $5 million in endorsements and another guy's getting $50 in endorsements. I mean, how concerned are you about that if you're Coach T. Scott Jones?
Obviously you want to have continuity and good camaraderie on the team. And I can see that, there can be some discontent that's going to be out there. The other part of it is, we're talking about this not being pay for play. We're talking about NIL. But that being said, what about these, we see it all the time, first round failures in the NFL. I know we're not talking about the same thing, but somebody, that's the rock star and they get the wonderful NIL deal and, they're a 6-cylinder Mustang. I mean, they look sporty on the outside, but they just don't have a lot of power under the hood and they're not able to perform. I mean, what do we do when they get there and they flop on their face? And, how long is somebody going to pay somebody, if you will, a premium because you're expecting a premium athlete to endorse your products or services? And if they turn out to be less than stellar or less than a premium, or perhaps they have a issue of moral turpitude or a bad decision. So think about that. That's going to be in those contracts too. I mean, all of those we're going to explore, right? If I pay name, image, and likeness, Caleb, sort of my hero. I want to pay Caleb for his name, image, and likeness. Going to endorse me, side by side. But then for whatever reason, Caleb has a issue. I mean, do I get refunded part of my money? I mean, think about it on all those morality clauses that we see in contracts. And I don't think anybody's thought about that, but I've represented innumerable student athletes that have made some really questionable decisions. Thank you, Lord, that they were eventually dismissed or acquitted for their bad decisions. But that being said, what are we going to do when somebody pays somebody a lot of money and then the first game of the season, they go down there and they rob the bread box or they get caught in a DUI and hit somebody? I mean, those are all things we start thinking about possibilities that can occur. Those are all going to have to be factored into these contracts.
Well, and I'll take it another step further. I mean, it would be one thing if somebody did something bad on an individual basis and you cut him. But I can't even remember the guy's name, but he was a defensive tackle and he was heading into, I believe, his 3rd year, and he was selling as much pot as he was making defensive tackle. So, and at the time that was very illegal. It's changed now. But the point was, he would have been breaking laws while he was an endorsed athlete. It wasn't just this one moment where you can cut from him. Do you get a refund on that? That's a great point.
Well, and the reality of getting a refund, what do you think the chances of that
You're
money
not.
being held? I mean, I both know it. It's going through excrement through a goose. I mean, we talk about, the circumstances in getting these athletes and folks to control their money. But, when they get that kind of money, unless they've got a financial planner or somebody that's really going to put it back. I mean, how many times have we seen that ESPN stuff after the applause? So now are we going to say after the collegiate applause, i.e. nothing's left? I mean, there's got to be something put back. I mean, almost like the child actors, so to speak. And I get it because they're adults, but child actors and the Screen Actors Guild, they put money back and they preserve it for these kids because again, they've only got that finite window. I mean, you're only young and cute for so long. You only have talent for so long.
Yeah, I'm coming up upon the end of that window. It's
Well, T. Scott Jones, I thought about this, but basically what we're talking about, let's call it what it is. The stipulations in the contract that are now with this third party and the NIL stuff, this is to protect boosters and business leaders across the different schools from themselves, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because in reality, like, one business leader would like to say, well, I'd like to put these stipulations in this contract at Tennessee, but, at Ohio State, they're not putting any stipulations. So the player's going to choose Ohio State. That's what they're doing here, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're trying to level the playing field. I mean, remember what I said at the very beginning before we kind of the technical difficulty. I mean, the legislature is trying to solve problems that are befalling the university and their, if you will, recruitment and attraction of athletes. So that we have, quote unquote, the most progressive and modern NIL structure in the country. I mean, obviously, there's a reason folks want to play for winners. and they want to play for places not only that they can exploit the situation financially, but also that they can make the best use of their talents to hopefully go to the next level.
Great point. Anything else from you, Caleb? I think that pretty much wraps it up on my end. It sounds like to me that T. Scott, it sounds like to me that this is something they're going to try to enforce, but really sounds a lot like window dressing. I mean, I feel like I could jump through the proper hoops, given a little bit of guidance, and have got X be my representation. It just doesn't seem like it has a lot of teeth. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. I mean, we'll see kind of how sharp those teeth are, and whether or not they're just gums or if they've actually got some meat to them. So, I mean, like I said, we've seen it evolve rapidly over the past, 2 or 3 years. So we've got a lot of changes in store.
Yeah, we did. Tell us about what you do, and if people need your fantastic representation, how to get in touch with you.
Well, I tell you what, Dave and Caleb, obviously I'm a trial lawyer. I go to court every day, just got back in. They can reach me at 865-546-2141. We try lawsuits. We do what the others dare not to do. So we're actually down there and doing the yeoman's work and putting in the hours. So hopefully if we can help somebody with their legal needs, or they need even just a question answered, just tell them to reach out to us. 865-546-2141, banksandjones.com.
All right, buddy. Have a blessed day. Appreciate you.
See ya. Be good, guys.
T. Scott Jones, Banks and Jones.